Alright, what's going on, guys? So this is going to be a full how-to manual conversion, an auto 350Z. Obviously it's got a manual conversion because it's auto. We're putting a manual gearbox in it. Going to do a full step-by-step on how to do it, everything you need. So first, got to move my drift car to the garage right next to it, and then bring the so-called soon-to-be manual in. Alright, car is on stands now. To be safe, I've put wheels under all four, just that bit of extra security. So what is required to do the manual swap? Obviously, straight away, you need a gearbox. So this is a CDO5 out of a 2003 350Z. If you haven't, you can actually use the auto gearbox cross member, but obviously I've got it in here, so I'm just going to use that. You need your clutch slave cylinder. Right, with that you also need clutch line. Now, being a right hand drive car, I've got 3 clutch lines. That goes from the master cylinder, which that end bolts into that, and then this bolts into that one there. Obviously you need a clutch alignment tool, clutch pedal, brake pedal. You can use the auto brake pedal, you just got to cut it down because obviously the manual ones are shorter. You need your full clutch reservoir and obviously your master cylinder, shifter, and all the surrounding and other little rubber parts that go over it. You need the manual trim. Now that is for a 2003 and a 2004. I think the 2005 plus are a different trim, so make sure you get the right one. And over here we have clutch, pressure plate, and flywheel. These are the bolts that came out off of it. Obviously I'm not going to use them because when it comes to flywheel and pressure plates, it's always best to use brand new ones every time you use them. So obviously I'm going to go with ARP. You got to Loctite them and then grease them. You grease them so you can get the proper torque. And last thing you need is the manual tail shaft. So that is everything there to be able to do the manual swap. First thing I'm going to do is take the battery out. Right, so now what we're going to do when we're under the car, start draining the gearbox. While that's draining, I'm then going to hop on the inside, start removing all the plastic. So let's get to it. Right, so to get that out, there's a lever on the side, just pull that so you can move the shifter. I'll put it in neutral, pulled it up just to enough so I can expose this. And all it is a little R-clip that goes through it, and then that's it. So now the shifter's out and you can work on the underneath of the car. Right, now all the gearbox oil is drained, we're going to go into removing the wire pipe and then to the tail shaft. So let's do it. Alright, so now what we're going to have to do is unplug all the O2 sensors. Going to do the, as you can see, those 2 bolts there, they are the transmission cooler lines, and then the one plug right there. So unbolt them and yeah, let's go to the next step. Alright, so a quick little recap. For the wiring harness that goes on the left side of the gearbox, you have your 2 O2 sensors, you have a crank angle sensor, and you just have that plug that goes to the starter motor, and that is everything for the wiring on the left side. Just got to go up there and undo a little bolt right there, and that will free the whole wiring harness off. So let's do that now. Alright, so now on the right side of the gearbox we have the 2 oil cooler lines and then the dipstick level. So I'm going to start with the oil cooler lines, dipstick, and then that one last plug, and that's all the wiring done. Alright, so everything is now disconnected. I'm just going to go to the front of the car and work on removing the whole transmission cooler system. So let's do that. Alright, so there's that 10mm bolt there that holds the oil cooler lines, and the ones there and there. So undo the 10mm, those clamps, and the oil cooler line should just come out. Alright guys, so next step right now is to drop the gearbox. I'm filthy, but I'm going to show you what I've taken out so far so you know that you're all good and ready to drop the gearbox. So first thing, obviously, I took the shifter out. That's the full auto shifter, obviously all the trim. Alright, so I've got the center console. Obviously you get the shifter out. They are your transmission cooler lines, the hoses that go to the transmission cooler. That is the dipstick to check your transmission oil, exhausts, tail shaft, and then you've got all the wires underneath. Yeah, so that is literally everything out now. Next step is to drop the gearbox. So I get the jack under, start undoing the top 2 bolts because they're the worst, and then yeah, go from there. Alright guys, as you were saying, we just pulled the auto gearbox out. That literally only took me 3 hours from start to finish. Only thing I done yesterday was I jacked it up and disconnected the battery. Otherwise 3 hours and everything automatic is out. As you can see, auto box, CDO5, which is out of the 2003. That's literally it. Just got to get the torque converter off now, that way there's no more gearbox oil dripping, and I'm going to call it day. Alright, so I've got the spigot bearing bushing out for the manual. I did try the grease trick, that didn't work, so I just got the proper tool and it came out straight away. So got to go onto the car now and get the auto one out. Alright, so both these spigot bearings are out now. So that's the manual one and that's the auto one. So now I'm going to put the manual one into the drift car now and start bolting up the flywheel and clutch. Alright, so just putting the spigot bearing into the back of the motor. So as straight as I can get it. I'm now just going to use the back end of a socket and then just tap it in. Alright, so now we're about to torque all the flywheel bolts. The torque settings are 93 foot-pounds of torque. So to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. I need to stop the motor from rotating. Alright, so because I'm using a second-hand flywheel that's in the car, pressure plate and clutch, I have been obviously touching it, so I'm going to get some degreaser and degrease that whole surface, wipe it down with a cloth, as I don't want any oil on that whatsoever. Then when I get under the car, I'm also going to degrease the flywheel. So we'll start off degreasing this. Alright, so now we're going to be using the clutch aligning tool that I have here to align the clutch to the pressure plate. So first off, you want your clutch, the higher part of the clutch you want facing up. As you can see, higher part this side and then nothing that side. Higher part facing up. Now grab your pressure plate and just sit her on top as close as you can get it to central. You want to stick the gold bolt with the blue part into the spine of the clutch. Grab the blue spinning part now and just slide that straight on. You want to screw the blue part down onto the pressure plate itself. Now use the gold nut to screw it on. And what that's going to do is open up the blue plastic to hold the clutch in position. So with everything nice and tight, the clutch should now stay to the pressure plate, like so. Now all I'm going to do is just use my fingers and align the clutch to the pressure plate. As you can see, there's a gap there, but nothing over there, so alright, that's looking pretty good now, so I'm going to go back over, flip it over and make sure everything's tight. And that is how you align the clutch to the pressure plate. Alright, so now we're going to torque the pressure plate bolts. There's actually a pattern. As you can see, there's 3 bolts, like sectioned, 9 in total. You want to start with the middle one on the 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then just go clockwise to the, let's say, outside one on them, and then you go to the inside one. So the pattern is 1, 2, 3, whatever, say around, and we're going to torque them down to 25 foot-pounds. So let's do it. Alright, so I have the auto brake pedal, so if you are wondering what the differences are, the auto brake pedal is thicker than obviously the manual brake pedal. So when I got the auto brake pedal out, the difference is the brown ones are the same, black ones are different. Alright, so with these plugs on the brake pedal, very simple, they just go in on an angle, you watch it on like that, in and then just twist. Now they're locked into position. You just want to make sure it's the same height as the brown one. So yeah, I'll crack that and whack it back in. Guys, so now we'll be moving on to the clutch pedal. I have actually taken the clutch safety switch off, as when we do the wiring I'll show you how I'm wiring it, as I'm not going to be wiring that in. The brake pedal's in, but for the clutch all I'm going to do is make a template of this, and then I'll show you inside the car where to match that to. So as you can see, the silver, that is where the clutch pedal is going to mount to, and then yeah, just that template I'll put up there, draw the holes and then drill it out, and that's the clutch pedal done. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright guys, so the clutch pedal is now in and it is mounted. Not too sure if you'll be able to see, but at the very top there, I'll probably circle it, was still the factory bolt for strengthening it. That way there's 2 bolts that go with the master cylinder, and there's 1 bolt that goes to the top of it. That was the part I was dreading the most. There's not much room in there. Next time, if I ever do this again on another Z, I'm taking the driver's seat out. That way I've got a bit more room in there. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is just connect the reservoir to the master cylinder, run the clutch lines down to the gearbox tunnel, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Next thing would be is to mount the gearbox. So let's just quickly run those lines. Alright guys, so as you just saw, the gearbox is in. I've just put 2 bolts up top, 2 bolts at bottom. So now this is the gearbox cross member. When the automatic transmission in, you can see there it's got AT for automatic transmission, arrow and the M for manual, and then it says here CVT MT, so that's for the conversion for the manual transmission. Obviously that's your automatic hole, manual. Alright guys, gearbox is in, everything's plugged up. I'm going to show you how I've run all the lines and what plugs to the gearbox. So right now I'm putting everything back together. The only thing I'm going to leave off is all the plastics around the back. Whoops. All I'm going to leave off is all the plastics around the battery tray, so I can get to the fuse, so I can do the little bit of wiring. I'll show you what the gearbox looks like. Sensor for your down pipes, I've just put the one on the side. And then the bracket for all the wiring, I'll just put that other one. Not too sure if that's in focus because I'm using my GoPro and I can't see. That I'll just bolt it through the bracket for here, and then obviously you've got your clutch line. So everything is ran. Up here that is a plug for the automatic that I've just cable tied to a breather. So there is a breather for the gearbox. There was a bracket on the side up there. I'll just cable tied the breather to. So yeah, I haven't plugged. There's no plugs to plug into the manual gearbox when you put it in the Z, as it's all different harness. So let's go piece all the interior together, and then yeah. So now Next thing we've got to do is the wiring. So I'll quickly show you what we've done. Obviously you just saw me fill the gearbox up with oil, and the interior is now all done. So now it is off to the wiring. I'm going to set the gearbox Pro up under the hood and show you what we need to wire up. So let's do it. Alright guys, so let's talk the wiring. This is for a 2003 350Z. I went through so many forums and there's just so much stuff about it all. So I've actually worked out that you need, this is plug E8, this is your IPDM, plug E8, and you want pin 45, which is left side second from the top. For me it is the yellow and red. As you can see, I've just cut it straight in half. And I'll put the bullet connectors. I've done that, so if it didn't work I can quickly connect them, but it does. So I'll show you the little wiring harness I've made up. This is a little harness I've made. So I've got the two bullet connectors there, which go into the yellow and red wire, which is pin 45. I've put a 10 amp fuse, and then that just connects straight to the battery. So I'll plug it up and show you guys what it looks like. That is literally how quick and easy it is for the wiring. Connector in there, and then your positive side of your battery terminal. There are some 12 volt constants in there. I didn't want to run it into there. For me, I just found it easier and better just to run it straight to the 12 volt. That way I know it's always a constant power. Instead of running around trying to figure out which one it is, just do that. So yeah, that's how easy and quick the wiring is. Alright guys, so just a quick thing again with the wiring. It is in your fuse box, which is next to your battery. That's called your IPDM. You want plug E8 and you want pin 45. Now that's the left side and it's second from the top. Cut that. I just put two bullet connectors on it. Made a quick little wiring harness from the 12 volt to a 10 amp fuse to the two bullet connectors, and that's how you start it. So that is wiring it without the clutch safety switch. I'm not going to wire the clutch safety switch in, as this is going to be a drift car. Doesn't bother me. I'm not going to have any remote start, so I don't have to worry about leaving in gear. I always start a car by pushing the clutch, so if it is in gear, you're going to be safe anyway. So that's the wiring. When you get in, put all the plastics back in, finish off doing the exhaust. I'm not going to call me doing the exhaust, because obviously everyone's exhaust is different. Bleed the clutch, and that's it. Be the drive. So next time you guys see this, hopefully we're starting her up and driving down the driveway in gear. Catch you then. Alright guys, so it's been about 2 weeks now since I've done the conversion, and the car is sweet. I've waited this long because if I ran into an issue, I wanted to be able to tell you guys what I ran into and how I fixed it, but I haven't ran into anything yet. Yeah, the car's still going strong. The conversion was, to be honest, really simple. Now, I've only been really working on cars for about 2 years now. I've owned a Z for about 1.5 years, so how to do a manual conversion by myself was pretty simple. I had my dad help me put the gearbox in and obviously take the auto one out. So yeah, apart from that, everything else I've done myself. I'm no qualified mechanic, so you may have heard me through the video say some stuff I'm probably wrong, because I didn't really know half the stuff at the time, so I learned a lot of stuff on the way, which was pretty cool to say that I've done the conversion. Right, so I'm going to do another video of me breaking down how much the conversion cost me. It was well under $1,000, that's Australian. So I'll have another video breaking that fully down, and I'll also break down obviously me talking to the process I went through when it came to doing the conversion. So yeah guys, yeah, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, it helps me massively. I've done a full drift build on a blue 350Z, so make sure you check that playlist out, and I've got heaps of videos of me drifting, and there's heaps more to come, so make sure you like and subscribe and follow all my other social medias to keep up to date with everything. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.